It's incredibly important to think about events like the Holocaust. There have been so many atrocities affecting so many different people in the history of mankind. This was among the very, 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 very worst in millennia of atrocities. And there are too many people who walk around naively thinking that was the past. But unless we realise that this is something that happened to people alive today, there are people now in different parts of the world suffering from oppression. This is our problem. This is not their problem, this is our problem. And in remembering the Holocaust, what we do is we recognise that we all have a duty to be vigilant against evil. Lily, you've got this remarkable story. Tell me about that beautiful pendant that you're wearing.
That's a beautiful gold pendant that I get my late mother when I was a little girl.
When did your mother give you that pendant?
Very young. I don't remember even when I get it, so young.
Now, we go into the Second World War. You are living in Hungary. And the Nazis come. Tell me what happened.
When the Nazis invaded Hungary, especially this part where I live, 70% of the Jewish population was not alive anymore.
Yeah.
They decided that not one Jew will stay alive. That was their aim, kill all of us.
And did you know the threat that they posed, how much you were in danger?
Not a bit. The problem was, in a way, that we were protected, overprotected. I don't know how much our parents knew, but we children knew nearly nothing, how bad the situation really was.
The Nazis took all your possessions, and they particularly took gold and jewellery. How did you manage to keep your pendant?
The Nazis, not only jewellery, they took away everything. They let only to have our shoes. The pendant was in my mother's shoe. My brother hid it in the heel for my mother's shoe.
Wow.
I don't know why, the last day on the train, my mother said, maybe we should change shoes.
So you had...
But the people asked me, it is not true, they say. They took away also the shoes. And they were right. But we were really the last transport from Hungary to Auschwitz. I don't know, maybe they run out of shoes.
Oh, right.
I don't know. So like that, survived Auschwitz. I think that is the only gold, but it survived Auschwitz with the original owner.
It's incredible. And tell me, you went there with your brothers and your sisters and your mother. What happened to them?
When we arrived, it was so quick, we had to go. It was sitting there a man, then we don't know who he was. It was Dr. Mengele. He was selected, it was a selection.
Very evil man.
We didn't know even what happened. So quick, we had to go before him, and with one movement of his hand, one movement, it would send people or right or left. People who were sent to left were taken straight to the crematorium. We didn't know what happens even. My mother, my younger brother and sister was taken straight to the crematorium. I, with my other two sisters, were sent right to survive, not to survive to tell you after 75 years what happened there, but they needed also a few young people who were a bit strong to work in factories and in different organizations, because the German men were on the front. So everything had to work.
What were conditions like in Auschwitz?
How can I describe the unescribable? It was very little piece of bread with a smaller piece of margarine. That was the food.
Yeah.
Quite a few people, especially men. That was even not a snack, that was nothing. Quite a few people died from hunger.
Yeah.
That was the condition.
How long were you in Auschwitz, and what happened afterwards?
In Auschwitz I was 4 months. And from there they took us to Altenburg in an ammunition factory to work.
Yeah.
There we worked 12 hours all day, all night. Also very little food.
But did you think all the time that one day they'll just kill you?
We were somehow sure that. And all the time they said, from this place is only way out through the chimney. They went in the crematorium. There was not, nobody would believe.
When did you know that your mother and your brother and your sister had been killed?
They told us when we were there, after we came out from the shower, that because we saw when we came out that from not far from the chimney fire came out. And we asked the people who were already there, what sort of factory? And the smell, that's burnt flesh. And we asked, what sort of factory is here? And they said, that is not a factory. They burn your families. And you know what? What we said them? You are mad. It cannot happen. But very quick, we find out that that was the truth.
Your testimony is very, very important. Were you able to talk about any of this in the years afterwards? Did it take you quite a long time to be able to talk about it?
Very long. It was impossible. It was, but interesting. I know you don't ask now that, but nobody from us who survived could speak very long. It was so dramatic, so terrible.
Of course. No, it was. Yeah.
People don't understand this even. There's something, it was unbelievable. You cannot, it was not a normal thing. People could not speak about it. Neither could I.
When did you first start being able to tell your story, and why were you able to?
When I the first time could, it was in Israel. I lived after the war in Israel. And then it was the Eichmann tribe, and they spoke about it. And then suddenly, because I even didn't want to tell for my family, for my children, I tried I haven't said not one word.
So you didn't tell your own children about it?
But then it came out. Then they know it. And it came out. And when it came out, and I thought it is much better now, I was there. I know really what happened. Then the world should really know what happened. And the other thing was, I also promised myself in Auschwitz, if I somehow survive, I will tell the world what happened there.
So, like all those who were forced into a concentration camp, you have that shocking tattoo of a number on your arm. Would it be okay to show it to me?
Here it is.
God. And what do you think?
10,572.
10,572. What an appalling thing to be classified with a tattooed number. What do you think when you see it now?
When I see it now, then I see it, what really they thought about us. They like animals. That is what you are, not humans. And we were taken like animals.
Lily, it's so shocking.
It was shocking. And but, you know what? I am still the lucky one, because I can tell this story. I survived. But the truth is that from thousands, only a very few survive.
What do you feel when you go back there? Why is it important to go back?
Very. Once I went back with my 3 grandchildren.
Oh.
And maybe it is one of the most important days in my life, that when I went out with them. I thought, you see, how many of you are still alive? I not only went in for my own will, but I came out, not alone, not with my children, my grandchildren. So we will survive.
Yeah, it's a message of hope, which is tremendous. And why is it important for you to do this walk that you are doing today and you've done in the past?
I find it very important, especially today, because we should not kid ourselves. In a few years' time, that will be only history. Today, a few of us are still alive, and even very few can tell still the story. So I think it is very important now to tell the story, how much we can, that the generation after us should not forget, should say what can happen. I hope never will something similar happen. But the people, people should learn from it, that we have to be with each other, show for each other how we have to behave. And people should learn from each other.
Lily, thank you so much for sharing your extraordinary, shocking story with me. You're very brave, and what you say is very important, and it's an honour to meet you. Thank you.
No, I am not brave. I know how important it is, and I know if I don't do it now, then no one else can do it. Only a few are still alive, and we have to do it.
Thank you again. So I've learned something about courage. Lily's story is shocking in the real sense of the word. Her determination to share with as many people as possible the appalling things that have happened really not that long ago is so important, because we cannot kid ourselves that it's impossible for those sorts of atrocities to happen again. And unless we listen to people like Lily, then we cannot protect vulnerable people from the really terrible things that happened to her and her family.